Hello everyone. Thank you for coming for remedial for today. Can you all hear me? Are you able to hear me? Can you give me a reaction? Yes. Okay, can So for today I'll go through some of the questions, okay, from 20 EVG 2021 paper 1. And then I still have one more question in 2022 paper 2 that I need to go through. So this will be a question on 2022 paper 2. All right, so I have started a recording session so that some of your friends who cannot attend the remedial will be able to see the video as well. All right, let me begin with this question. So previously we already went through the one on exchange rate. Okay, and now this one is the one on finding simple interest rate. Now in your future questions where you do with Sec 2, Sec 3 work, you'll probably be dealing with compound interest. But at current now stage, we'll learn more focus a little bit more on simple interest. So what exactly is hire purchase and simple interest? So if you were to look at this question itself, he's buying a refrigerator and he's not going to pay it in full right at the beginning. So he's going to buy it on hire purchase where he pays a deposit, okay, of the cash price. So how do we usually calculate what is this installment and what is this interest rate that is given? Firstly, you need to take note that in the question here, this one says calculate the annual interest rate of interest, but it's at a simple interest rate. So if it's at a simple interest rate, the simple interest rate formula is given by I equals to PRT over 100. If you still remember what it means, I stands for interest, P is the original amount that you borrowed, the principal amount to begin with, R is the rate of interest, and T for the time period. Now, in this case, the question already say they want annual, so it will be a yearly interest rate. And if that's the case, they are looking currently at 24 equal monthly installment. This indirectly tells us that the time period over here, 24 months, is actually 2 years. Correct? Okay, so now how do we actually go about calculating hire purchase? So first we need to know our cash price, which is $3,800. And then we will find our deposit. The question gave us that is 10% of the cash price. So we find the 10%, which is $380. But when we charge interest, right, we are charging interest based on the amount that we have not paid. Okay, so in this case, we already paid a deposit, which is $380. So what is the amount of money that I'm going to charge interest on, which is this P, the principal amount of money? It has to be taking the cash price, okay, subtract away the deposit that you are paying, that you have already paid. Okay, so you take the cash price minus away the deposit that you have already paid. So this is a very crucial number. You must make sure you have this number. Okay, then what else did they tell me? They already gave me the total monthly installment that I'm supposed to pay. So if they give me the monthly installment that I'm supposed to pay, which is 24 months of $200, it means that, I'm going to calculate my total installment. For this amount of money, $3,420 that I owe, I'm paying a total of $4,800. Okay, so this is the starting amount that I owe them, but this is the end amount that I need to pay. So what is the difference? The difference between these two amounts over here will be the interest that is being charged, amount of interest that I need to pay. So in this case, I take 3,200, 33420 and 4800. I find the difference between the two of them. So when I find the difference between the two of them, it gives me the interest amount. This is not the interest rate, this is just the interest amount. So now, the moment I know the final amount already, the interest amount, I know the P, the principal, okay, that I have. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to plug this into my formula, I equals to PRT over 100 over here, in order to help me count the interest rate, which is R. So if I know my interest, which is 1,380, equals to principal amount, which I started off. This is my principal amount over here. right? The interest rate, which is the annual interest rate, I do not know, times number of time period. How do I know that this is 2? It comes from the 24 equal monthly installment. So 24 months is actually 2 years. Okay, then over 100. What is this 100? This 100 is to convert the percentage to a value. So just that's part of the formula lah. So what we can do, how are we going to get rid of 100? Okay, we're going to get rid of 100 and multiply by 100 over here. How am I going to get rid of 3,120 and the number 2? Right, so I divide away 3,420 and divide away by 2. Then the remaining, the value that I'll have will be my interest rate. So my interest rate is actually 20.175. I think the number not very exact, so I rounded it off to 3 significant figures. Okay, so the main concept of this question, there are a few key concepts. Number 1, you must know what is simple interest rate. I equals to PRT over 100. Okay, if you do not remember, I can send you the video for Sec 1, our chapter, I think it's chapter 9, percentages. Okay, there is a part of it to revise on calculation of higher purchase and simple interest as well. Okay, I'll send you the video for a similar concept. Question with a similar concept. So go through this one again. First one, find the deposit, but you must find the remaining amount first. That is the amount that you borrowed. Then, given that you have the total amount, find the difference to find the interest. Then after you know the interest ready and your total original amount, you plug everything into your equation, then you solve for the answer out. Is the question okay? If you're okay, yeah, give me a thumbs up. Then I already posted some of the answers, the mark scheme. All right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, then I know I'll move on to the next question. I posted the one I posted on Google Classroom is the mark scheme, not my written answers. So the mark scheme will have things like, for example, points, marks. Okay, let me show you my mark scheme. Let me share. Okay. Are you able to see my screen now? You can see. Okay. Okay, so for example, right, if we have a proper mark scheme, what is a proper mark scheme? A proper mark scheme will have things that looks like this with A1, B1 or whichever. B1 means a bonus mark is given usually. M1 and B1 are given based on method or based on your working. If you are able to get this without certain parts of the stuff, you will still get B1. But answer mark must come with the marking, the method. So when you do your own marking on your own, you'll notice there are some questions with A1. Let's say you get the same final answer, but you did not show the method or the B1 on top or whichever, right? You may not be able to get the answer mark at all. So many a times I told you all must do working. So anyway, I posted the solution for 2022 paper 1 and paper 2, the mark scheme itself, how the teacher mark your answer. So you can use that mark scheme to check your answers. Okay. All right. With that, then I'll continue to the next question, next paper. Now I'm going to go through 2021 paper 1. Right? 2021 paper 1. Give me a minute, stop sharing. How do I do this? Are you able to see? Wait, hang on a bit. Okay, 2021 paper 1. Have you all gotten your 2021 paper 1 ready? If you are ready for 2021 paper 1, then give me a thumbs up, then I can begin. If not, then I'll wait a while more for you all to get your paper. Okay, so some of you given me the thumbs up, so I should proceed. Okay, so now some of the questions are very simple, so I'm not going to go through every single question. Okay, I'll go through some of it only. So this one, just take note, this is 0.25%. So 0.25% still need to divide by another 100. Okay, so sometimes students will just think 25%, no, 0.25 out of 100, okay, times 0.05, and this one says 1,000, so you need to times another 1,000 to get your answer. Okay. Next one, express this as a recurring decimal. What do you mean by a recurring decimal? A number that does not end and it repeats itself with a pattern. Just a side note to recall, a recurring decimal is a rational number. Anyone remember what is the meaning of a rational number? A rational number is a number that can be expressed as a fraction with integers p over q, where p and q are both integers. So as you can see, it can be expressed as a fraction, where 164 and 303 are integers. Okay, rational number also have another type, which is like a recurring decimal, numbers that does not end but have a repeating pattern. These are considered rational number. On the other hand, what is an irrational number? A irrational number is a number that cannot be expressed as a fraction with integers as p and q. Okay, or the next tip is for a rational number, the number does not end and it has no repeating pattern. So irrational number does not end, okay, and it has no repeating pattern. Right. The common mistakes for students to think through is there's this set of numbers that teacher would like to test. What about pi and 22 over 7? Many students still have the impression that pi is equals to 22 over 7. Sorry, that's just an approximation that a teacher used for pi when you are in primary school. But that is not true. Pi is not equal to 22 over 7. But as you can see, 22 over 7 itself is a fraction. Okay, it can be expressed as a fraction. If you press a calculator, it will also be a never-ending number, but actually the number does repeat itself and it can be written as fraction. So 22 over 7 is actually a rational number. Okay, but for pi itself, pi is a number that doesn't end and there's no repeating pattern. Until now, I don't know what's the number of digits that they have found for decimal places for pi, but it's still never ending and there's obviously no repeating. So pi is actually an irrational number. So please do take note of this small tricky part if the teacher were to test you during end of year examination. Okay. Next question, this one, highly commonly make mistake, even though the question is so simple. So I must reiterate, okay, again, please read the instructions of the question carefully. They say, by writing each number correct to 1/6 feet. The question did not ask you to calculate, then estimate. The question asks you to round off the number and then estimate. Okay, so it's not pressing the calculator directly just like that. You got to round off each number to its one significant figure. Okay, what is this number in one significant figure? Anyone can tell me? This one very simple, so you all should be able to give me.
900.
Thank you, 900. Okay, then what about the next one? This is each number 2.04 square.
2 square.
2 square. Okay, or actually some of you were wondering, sure, do I square first, then I round off or whichever. Okay, the number will, for 1/6 feet, more or less is going to be same. So this number is actually 4. Then 0.253, the first 6 feet is here. So this one will become
0.3.
Thank you very much. That's Namneen, right? I think it's her voice. Okay, then I use these values, 900 times 4 over 0.3. Then I use this value to do my calculation and my estimation of my answer. Okay, and then I get my answer approximately. Notice all my symbols here are approximation sign, not the equal sign. It's important to write to understand how you present your working, okay? So therefore, this is the one significant value, okay? Then some students think that, oh, this answer, I need to round off to one significant figure. That is not true because I have done the process where I'm rounding off each number to 1/6. They say hence estimate. So this is an estimation of the number. Even though the final answer is not one significant figure, you do not need to change it. So this answer should be the correct final answer. Am I clear? Okay, next one, question number 3. This one over here, just to go through it a little bit. Now, there are some people who don't like to work with fractions. Okay, then you might want to multiply. But there is a little bit of danger that you need to double check. If I were to multiply 2 to 2, right, to get rid of, most of the students, they will say times 2, times 2. Then they forget that this number 14 also need to multiply by 2. Okay, this is the common mistake that you make, that some people will make. So in order, maybe sometimes we want to avoid such kind of mistake, what can we do? We can try to shift and regroup all the t together into one side first before we get rid of the denominator. So for me, out of convenience, I'll just try to put everything on the left-hand side. So this is negative 3t. I will shift negative t over 2 over, okay, here. So this one from negative t over 2 become, what does it become?
Positive t over 2.
Positive, right? T over 2. Then the sign stays the same. I'm just shifting the terms around. Okay, so no multiplication or division. No need to flip the inequality sign. Then this one will be 14. This one bring over here will be minus 8. Okay, minus 8. So here I have negative 3. And how do students actually interpret this? This is actually 1 over 2t. Right, so you take negative 3 plus 1 over 2. For algebra, some of you might want to write mixed number, like improper 2.5 or whichever, right? Or maybe some of you will write decimal. If you write decimal in this case, this is still okay. But if you write negative 2.5, then a t, that is not correct. Remember, algebra, improper fraction. So for me, I'll write negative 5 over 2t. Greater than 14 minus 8 is the number 6. Okay, then after this, now I try to get rid of my denominator. I'll multiply by 2 or just divide by negative 5 over 2 directly. Also can, no much of a problem. Okay, so I'll just do mental sum. Okay, now I'm going to divide by negative 5. I'm dividing by negative number. I'm dividing by negative 5. What must happen to my inequality sign? Anyone?
Flip.
Yeah, we must flip the direction. So I'm going to change this to this. And this is t. So it will be 12 divided by negative 5. That gives me negative 2.4. Okay, there are many different answers you can write. You can write as improper fraction, negative 12 over 5, or negative 2 and 2 over 5. Okay, but okay, the question says solve this, right? What is the answer that I'm going to write in my answer blank? Am I going to write negative 2.4, negative 12 over 5, negative 2 and 2 over 5? Are these answers acceptable? No, these answers are not acceptable. Why? Because they ask you to solve for it. What is t? T is a whole range of numbers. So I want the whole inequality itself. So the answer over here should be t less than, then you have your whatever negative 2.4 lah, or negative 12.5, blah, 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 so on and so forth. This whole thing is the answer. Okay, so you must write the whole inequality inside. Many of you solve, then until the last part, you write the answer, just the number. So then you lose 1 mark. Okay, so please take note, you must get the whole inequality inside over there. Okay, next one question say, hence write down the largest integer. Now during exam, even if you get your part A, part 1 wrong, but you interpret the correct answer using your part 1, you'll still be able to get an error carry forward 1 mark. Okay, so please take note. Do try the questions, don't just leave blank. And this question over here is a number less than negative 2.4. So if I have negative 2.4, the number smaller, what is the number smaller or bigger than it? Integer value. Where should I put negative 2? Let me see. 0 is over here. Where should I put negative 2? To the left or to the right of negative 2.4?
The right.
To the right hand side, right? Then what about negative 3?
To
It
the
will be
left.
that. So which number? So they want t smaller than negative 2.4. This is a smaller than, so it's an empty circle, not a solid circle. If you have with an equal sign, this type, then you'll be a full solid circle. If you have the empty ones, this type, then this no equal sign, this will be the empty circle. So they want smaller than, so t is inside this range. So out of here, which is the largest integer value that is smaller than 2.4? The number will be negative 3. Okay, so teachers like to test this kind of question for negative integers. Then sometimes students will mix up and they write negative 2 as the answer. Then it will be correct. Okay, are you okay with this question? Okay, if yes, then I'm going to move on to the next question. Can, huh? Okay, next page. Okay, this question over here, just to take note for question 4a, not too difficult, but a little bit tricky. You need to reread. You must read the question carefully. So it started off with 20 million in 2018. And then after that, this income decreased by 10%. So first I tried to find 2019, decreased by 10%. For 2019, right, decreased by 10% was from 2018. So you notice that I wrote in my working, 2018 was my 100%. Okay, so I found my 2019 is 18 million. But however, the next part of the statement says in 2020, the income increased by 15% from the 2019. This means that 2018 is no longer my 100%. 2019 is the one that will be the 100% because they say 15% from the 2019 income. So 2019 now becomes my 100%. So my 100% is now 18 million. And of course, they say increase, then I'll take 100 plus 15%, that will be 115%. So you get your answer 20.7 million. Okay. Right. Next question, the area of the shape, convert area. So we have meters to cm. We all know meters to cm is 2 times 100. But area, right? Meter square, cm square. So here also the 100 square. So this question very simple. 1.2 times 100 square. That gives me the number 12000. Answer. Okay, have you gotten this answer correct? Okay, next question. This graph. Okay, this one this is a very straightforward question, but I still need to repeat many times. Okay, because it's a very standard question world test. Okay, first thing to take note, you notice that this is actually a negative x square. When it's negative x square, is sad face. Sad face will be negative x square will be sad face. If it's positive x square, that will be smiley face. Okay, next thing is say cut the x-axis. What happens when it cuts the x-axis? Maybe I call Lincoln. Don't know whether is he still paying attention. Yes, Lincoln, can you tell me what happened when it cuts the x-axis?
Y is 0.
So much y equals to 0. Okay, can. Now, so what we can do, if I want to find the coordinates, so I'm going to sub when y equals to 0 into my equation. So 0 now, negative x squared plus 3x minus 2. Like I say, negative x squared is just to show you the shape of the curve, but it's not very helpful when I want to factorize negative x squared. So I should change this to positive x squared minus 3x minus 8 plus 2 equals to 0. And I'm going to solve this part of the equation. Please do your factorization. Either you use the calculator or whichever. Try to show Okay? If not, then you better make sure your calculation or factorization is correct. All right, so in this case, I have this in x, this one negative 3x, so both are negative, and this one will be plus 2. So I'll get my answers, x minus 2, x minus 1 equals to 0. The first x coordinate, first answer, x equals to 2. Or my second answer, x equals to 1. But this is not the final answer. Okay, the question say they want the coordinates. So the question wants the coordinates. So I know x is equals to 2, x is equals to 1. But what is the y value? Anyone? What's the y value? Yes. Yeah, correct. Because remember, we plug y equals to 0 inside our equation. So for this kind of question, 3 marks must take the 3 marks. Okay, cannot afford to have any common mistakes for this kind of question, unless you really factorize wrongly. That would be very sad. Okay, so this question simple, straightforward, because it's still in paper 1, not paper 2 yet, huh? Okay, question number, next question over here, just to take note, I'll be sending out the answers. I'll be sending out the answers later also, so you don't need to be too busy copying everything. Just pay more attention to the explanation. Okay, inside the diagram, AB is equals to AC. So immediately, sometimes a lot of you all read the diagram, but you all don't read the lines in between, and they tell you important information, then you miss it out. That would be a pity. So the moment you know this, this is actually an isosceles triangle. Given my intuitive nature, I will definitely straight away calculate this one to be 180 minus 66 divided by 2, and this gives me 57. 57. Okay, that's my nature, right? I will always tend to write down information first, or that I can know of. Next thing, they say that AD is parallel to BFC. So the moment I see AD parallel, anyone can tell me what kind of angles is this? I've just drawn out this pair of angles. What kind of angle is this? Starts with A.
Alternate angles of
Parallel lines. Thank you very much. So this is alternate angles on parallel lines. This is 38. Therefore, this angle will also be 38. Am I right? And similarly, if this angle is 57, then this angle here will also be 57. So the moment I want to start to interpret, I only interpret the first statement, and then use the help of the diagram. I already found so many different answers already, right? So now let's say, find the following, they say intersect at E, yes, and then find the following angle. First one, find DFC. This one shouldn't be a problem. Angle DFC, given answer, straight away 38. But for me, I will, we are doing revision, right? Please practice. This one is given, this is 38, this is 38, letter Z. This is the letter Z, right? This is given by alternate angles on parallel lines. Okay, so for those of you who have gotten the answer correct, please do add in one more portion. Write down the reasoning. Okay, practice and write down the reasoning as well. Next one, find angle ABC. Angle ABC, this is simple, straightforward. So 180 minus 66 divided by 2 gives me 57. Write down the reason as well. Base angles of isosceles triangle. Okay, by right, the full one should be base angles of isosceles triangle, but doesn't matter. You can write isosceles triangle already very good. The teacher will know that you know the form, you know what it is. Okay, last but not least, find angle AED. Angle AED, this one so simple, 180 minus 57 minus 38. And write down the reason as a practice. A5. Right, this is angle sum of triangle. Okay, base angle of isosceles triangle. Okay, this question shouldn't be much of a problem, am I right? Okay, I shall move on. Just need to spend some effort in remembering your Okay, formula, the reasoning, okay? First one, rearrange the formula y equals to this to make x the subject. First thing you take note, I want to make x the subject, but our question over here comes in the form of a x cube. So before I make x the subject, I must make x cube the subject first. So I must try to gather all the x cube the subject first. Okay, I'm not going to take cube root straight away or whatever. I'm going to take cube root the last. Okay, to make it become x, I'm going to take cube root the last, but I group all my x together. So this is a fraction. So I'll intuitively, first thing to do, we cross multiply. Equal sign is in the middle. So y times the whole of x cubed minus a, x cubed minus 3. Is it necessary that all the time I must expand the bracket? It depends. Look at the situation. What is it that I want? I want the x cube. And x cube is stuck inside my bracket over here. It's not on its own without anything. So in this case, I have no choice. I need to expand out. So it's yx cubed minus ya. Remember ya, not just a, okay? And this is x cubed minus 3. Then our next step, I give you my three favorite G, F, D. Anyone remember what is G?
Group.
Yes, thank you very much. Group together. Is that Yao Min?
Yeah.
Okay. So I group together. Since I want to get x cubed, so I'll put all my x cubed together on my left hand side. Okay, so this is on my x cubed term. So I'm going to group them together. Yeah, give me a minute. Let's open. Okay, I'm going to I'll keep yx cubed and I'll bring x cubed over here. This one will become minus x cubed. Okay, and then this one will be minus, I'll bring the ya over. From negative ya, it become positive ya minus 3. Now, a word of caution, sometimes when we want to factorize x cubed, then there are two terms over here. You notice there are two terms over here. Later, when I factorize out is the bracket, there should also be two terms. But if students who might commonly forget, or whichever, right, you can write a 1x cubed over here. If you cannot see that it's actually one term, you can write 1x cubed over there. Okay, so now second step, after I group them together, next one, F for
Factorize.
thank you. I'm going to factorize out my x cubed. So I'll factorize out my x cubed. Remember, I need to have two items. I came up with two items. I need to have two items inside my bracket as well. Okay, so I'm going to factorize out this one will be y
minus 1.
is minus 1. So we need the number to be there. If you cannot see that is another term on its own, add in the number 1 inside to help you to see, visualize it clearly. Okay, so with this, then last step, group, factorize, and then the last one, divide. So I just divide away, okay? So x cubed will be equals to ya minus 3 over y minus 1. Please don't get count or whatever, go and cancel out the y or anything. Don't do such stuff, okay? Then last but not least, to get rid of the cube, I take cube root. Interestingly, square root, it will be plus or minus. Okay, but for cube root, if it's a negative number, I cube root, it still be a negative number. If it's a positive number, I cube root, it still be a positive number. So in this case, you do not need to add plus or minus. So this will be cube root of ya minus 3 over y minus 1. Okay, take note of how you write your cube root. Some student will write cube like that. Then the teacher think it's just 3. What is this? This is actually 3 times the square root of ya minus 3. Okay, 1 minus 1. Right? And different, if you write cube at the power here, cube at the power here, this is cube root. Okay, that is proper cube root. So the way you write, or the size you write, or the position that you write your cube, it makes a little bit of a difference. So this one is actually not correct. All right, this one is actually the cube root. Okay, just to take note. All right, if you are okay with this question, give me a thumbs up. Then I'll continue to the next question. Okay, I can. All right, next one. Factorize this completely. This one, 4 different terms. So we are going to do factorization by grouping. So anyone have any preference? If not, then I shall do my own preference. 8a plus 6 factorized by the common factor to 4a plus 3. So I get 2 bracket 4a plus 3. Okay, if I were to factorize out the next second group, right, whether I factorize out a positive number or negative number, I need to make sure I must have a sign. I must have a sign here. Don't just write. Sometimes some of you just write the numbers. Let's say, for example, 5b, then negative 3, 4a, or whatever, right? This one is not correct, okay? If there is no sign in between here. So you need to make sure you have the sign, right? But anyway, this is not my answer. Negative 15b minus 20ab, common factors 5b. So I get negative 3 and negative 4a. However, these two are not of the same sign. What do I need to make them the same sign? I can factorize out the negative number. So I factorize out a negative 5. This one become positive 3, positive 4a. Now these two are exactly the same. So in that case, I will factorize out negative 5b, 3 plus 4a. 4a and 3a, 4a plus 3 and 3 plus 4a are actually the same, right? So the one that is being repeated only, right? The repeated factor only need to write one time. Okay, 4a plus 3. It's not 3 brackets, it's 2 brackets. 2 minus 5b. Word of caution, sometimes teachers might be very tricky. Do check that are there any more common factors, okay? Check that if there is any more common factor, we want to factorize out one more common factor. If there isn't, then happily, no problem. Okay, next part of question, they say, hence solve this. What is this talking about? How do I hence solve this? I factorize already. How do you mean by hence solve this? So I got 4a plus 3, 2 minus 5b equals to 0. 4a plus 3, since I factorize it, so 4a plus 3 equals 0. 4a equals to negative 3, a equals to negative 3 over 4. Oh, I've solved for the first answer. Second one, 2 minus 5b equals to 0. Negative 2, b equals to 2 over 5. Second answer. Bingo, magic. No lah. So A, the answer negative 3 over 4, B, the answer 2 over 5. So you never do the equation, you never solve it, you will never get the answer. You do not know. Just try. Okay, so you try, sometimes miracle can happen. You might want to be able to get your answer. Okay, next part of question, write down the value of this. So this one is straightforward, easy. You just need to do prime factorization. From here, I get the answer. 2000 is 2 to the power of 4, 5 to the power of 3. They say write down the value of x. X is just the power. So x will be just the number 4. And y is just also the power. So y will be the number 3. Simple, straightforward. Okay. Next one, find the smallest integer m such that 2000 square root m is a multiple of 14. So first, let us simplify what is 2000 times square root m. So 2000, I already used my part A answer, 2 to the power of 4 times 5 to the power of 3 over here. Then times square root of m to be a multiple of 14. What are the factors in 14? Factors of 14 includes 2 and 7. 2, I already have the factor 2. This is already present. So which factor is missing? The factor that's missing is the number 7. But this one says square root 7, square root m. Square root m is equal to the factor 7. So m must be, do the square root, m will be equals to 49. Have you gotten the answer for this one? Is this okay? No problem, right? Next, this question, there is a problem with this question. Can I have all of your attention to change this question? Okay, change this question a little bit. You cannot put cross like that little. Okay, this question need to be changed. This question is not correct. Okay, why? First thing, number 1, you notice that if I divide by a number, if P is a certain number that makes the whole value a fraction, it cannot be a perfect square. Why? A perfect square, number one, must be an integer. Okay, so this question has some errors in it, but can you please help me to modify the question to, given that P is a positive integer, explain why 2000 over 5, 2000 P to the power of 4 over 5 is a perfect square. Can you please change the question to this one? Give you a little bit of time to write down first. Okay, please change the question to this way. Number, why I say that this question is not valid, because if P is such a number that makes the whole value a fraction cannot be a perfect square. A perfect square is an integer. Okay, a perfect square must be an integer. Then now, if I change it to this manner, this one will be explainable. How do I explain this? 2000 times P to the power of 4 over 5 can be simplified into, remember 2000 is 2 to the power of 4 times 5 to the power of 3, right? If I were to divide by 5, what happens to the power over here? This one become 2 to the power of 4, 5 to the power of 2, and P to the power of 4. And since P is also an integer, it can be observed that this can be expressed as a product of its prime factor, where all the powers of the prime factors, okay, not say, in this case, I do not know whether it's P prime or not, so I cannot say that it's a prime factor of the factors, okay, are multiples of 2. Okay, so therefore it is a perfect square. Okay, this one will be a little bit different from the marking scheme as well. The marking scheme answer will have some mistake in it. So can all of you please just write this down? Once you're done writing or whichever, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or something or some reaction, then I will move on to the next question. Is that about this? Somebody left, got disconnected. Shashi, you done writing? Do you write or not? Or is Shashi paying attention? Okay, got reaction, means still alive. Yeah, then the rest of you, okay, okay. The rest of you never give any reaction, so I don't know. Then I continue, yeah. Okay, no reaction, no violent objection. Okay, can. Next page, this one math skill shouldn't be too difficult, right? So let's take a look at the question. A map A is being drawn 1:50,000. So first, when we start off, we don't have any units. We will start off with cm on both sides. For easy, sometimes it's easier to start with other units also. So you read the question, it depends on the question. No hard and fast rules. So what we're going to do, since the question actually want to answer to be in kilometers, so I'm going to change my units to kilometers first. And then after I find the 3.8, just multiply. This one, everyone should ace the question, right? Now, the area of the airport on map A is 50 cm square. So now, but then they tell me to find the airport on another map. So first, what stays the same throughout? The actual area stays the same throughout. So what I need to do is I must find the actual area first. Okay, the actual area of the airport, first I have this one scale is 1 cm is to 0.5 kilometer. But if I want to find my area scale, to indicate you are looking for area scale, 1 square cm square, 0.5 square kilometer square. You square everything throughout. Just this one itself, there will be 1 mark, method mark. Okay. Wait, let me see this one. Oh, this one here maybe won't have 1 mark, method mark, because the question is 2 marks. I think the teacher might be stingy. Okay, you may not get your 1 mark as per normal down here. Okay, but anyway, this is 1 cm square. 0.5 square will be 0.25 kilometers square. They say the map itself is 50 cm square. So 50 cm square will be times 50. That gives me 12.5 kilometers square. So this is my actual, okay, the actual stays the same. Actual remains stays. Right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the MapV. MapV has given me an area scale to start off with directly. This is B, this is A. So 1 cm square is to 0.16 kilometers square. So now given that I have the actual 12.5 kilometers square, just undo. So 12.5 divided by 0.16, that gives me my answer, 78.125 cm square. This number, 78.125, is exact. Please do not round off exact value to 3 significant figure. This value, 7.125, is exact. So please do not round off the number to 3 significant figure. The teacher may minus accuracy 1 mark. So now this question here has 2 marks. Probably you need to get this to get 1 mark for a method and 1 more mark for the answer. Okay, so the method mark is being adjusted. When you change the scale to area scale, you may not get a mark already. Okay, shouldn't be much of a problem, doable. Next one, okay, I should do algebra a little bit slowly and bit by bit, right? First one, I have something square. Let's recall our formula. A plus, this A minus, A minus B whole thing square is made up of A square plus B square minus 2AB. Okay, it's not A square minus B square. It is not A square minus B square. It's A square plus B square minus 2AB. For students who are unable to do this, doesn't matter. You can still write the whole thing 2 times and then you expand 1 by 1. Okay, no problem. Can? So now what I'm going to do a bit of both method. I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to expand P minus 3 over 2Q square using method number 1. Okay, if I do method 1, that will be A square plus B square minus 2 times A times B. Okay, not it's multiply, you need to write the brackets. It's not just 2 minus P minus 3 over 2. Some people write 2P minus 3 over 2Q like that. This is wrong. You need to add in brackets. It's a multiplication. All right. Okay, so don't let your formula confuse you. They are what they actually mean. Oh, then the next question is, do I need to put the negative sign over here? My negative sign is already taken care of down here by my formula. So my B is actually just the number 3 over 2Q. Okay, you don't need to care about the sign anymore because the formula has taken care of the sign for you. So this one will be just P and this will be just 3 over 2Q. Okay, so let's multiply this. The square over here, this will be P square. And for this one, remember to square the numbers as well. So this one will become 9. 9 over 4 Q square. Okay, minus. This one I need to do a multiplication. Some of you might get confused that you think want to make it same denominator, blah, blah. No, it's just multiplication, just multiply. So 2, what's on top numerator and denominator can cancel away. So then I multiply the rest remaining, that will be 3PQ. Okay, so you can do it this way. Or if you don't want to do it this way, you can do method number 2, P minus 3 over 2Q times P minus 3 over 2Q. Have a little bit more patience with me because I try to cover the algebra. Okay, P times P square, P times negative 3 over 2, negative 3 over 2 PQ. Then this one, also negative 3 over 2 PQ. Then this one, last but not least, negative times negative is positive. 3 times 3, 9. 2 times 2, 4. Q times Q, Q squared. Okay, then now we simplify this portion. Negative 1.5 and negative 1.5 gives you negative 3 PQ. Okay, so I believe this question itself is 3 marks. The expansion of this itself will give you 1 mark. Okay, so you can either use method 1 or method 2. Then now we're going to move on to combine them together. So I have P squared plus 9 over 4 Q squared minus 3PQ. 2 times the whole of this 3 over 4. Students, common mistake. Students like to do this. I do not know why. They think that this is 9 times 2, 8 times 2 Q squared. This is not correct. I'm not making it a fraction, same denominator or whichever. This is not correct. This is not correct. Okay, what you're supposed to do, this is 2 over 1 times 9 over 8 Q squared. You really don't know how to calculate. Just press this in your calculator. 2 times 9 over 8. What does that give you? That gives me 9 over 4 Q squared. So, nine over 4 Q squared. Okay, not 18 over 16 or something like that. Then next, negative 2 times positive. So get negative. Again, this one is just also number 2 times 3 over 4. Just press calculator. 2 times 3 over 4 directly. You get 3 over 2. Okay, and last but not least, I hate algebra. Okay, simplify whatever that you need to simplify. I have Q square and Q square A. This one, the Q square 1 plus 1 minus become no more Q square. Right, then I have a negative 3PQ and a number negative 3 over 2. Hopefully I get correct. Yeah? I also don't know. Okay, so your check. Anyone managed to get the same answer as me? Okay, got answer. Anyone say answer as me? Or I'm talking to myself only. Huh? No same answer. Who get correct? Who get the same answer as me? Can you put a tick in your or whatever in your reaction? Huh? Really no. Then what answer y'all get? My answer wrong, meh? Okay, I don't know. No, who get the same answer? Legit. Okay, sorry. Next question. This one construction. Okay, let me just show you my answer for construction. Okay, cancel. No. How should I stop sharing? Okay, let me show you the answers for the construction. All right. Let's see. You are able to see this. Okay. So the question over here, construction using ruler and compass, construct the quadrilateral such that ABCD, AD is 7.2 cm, BAD is this, and BD is strangely 8 cm. Okay, I don't know how the teacher managed to do it. AD is 7.2 cm. I think the question on our graph, Wenjun, yeah, call Wenjun.
Yeah.
Is this the question that has the problem?
Yeah.
Right. But the question our paper didn't give us 7.2 cm, right? Our paper gave us the whole length as AD, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think most of you might have done the question according to AD is the whole straight line. Okay, that's why if you have drawn it, then your question BD will not be able to be 8 cm. Then you will feedback that there's some problem with the question. Is that right? Giselle, double check. Is this one is a bit different? This question they put 7.2 is different from what was printed on your worksheet also, right? I think so. Okay, nobody answered me, I don't know. Okay, but anyway, I just want to go through the concept of the question. Maybe the drawing itself has a little bit of problem, but the concept of the question is actually quite good. Construct a straight line parallel to AD. This one actually very simple. 2.5 cm above. So what you need to do, you measure 2.5 cm, you mark a point. You measure 2.5 cm, you mark a point. You just need 2 points, then you draw a line. Okay, 2.5 cm away, so straight away lah. Okay, by right lah, they want you to construct, you need to use compass to measure 2.5 cm and you draw some arcs, but this one is okay lah, not much of a problem. Next, they say a circle of radius 4.5 cm from point C. So from point C, you measure 4.5 cm, you draw a circle of a radius. Okay, so hence using your result from B, mark and label the points of intersection of the parallel line and the circle. So this is a little bit slightly different from last time what we constructed. We did all the angle bisector, perpendicular bisector, but this question chose to come out with parallel lines and circle. But it's still looking for intersection points. So this is where the circle is. This one is the intersection point over here. Okay, and then but they didn't, strangely enough, they didn't ask you to any construction for angle bisector or perpendicular bisector. Not sure, maybe for that year it was not in the syllabus or it was taken out from exam. Okay, but I believe our question will be tested, other questions. Okay, so let's continue a little bit more. I'm left with 3 more minutes. Okay, I hope I can wait, how do I stop share screen? Stop share. Okay, I have not finished my full question itself. There are some questions at the back that is a little bit difficult or whichever. So I'll just do one more of question 13B and I'll continue the rest, okay, the next few sessions. Okay, can? One more part, one small part only. Let me finish up this one first. Oops. Share the screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen already? Yes. Okay, last part of the question for today. Just this part over here. This one, question 13A actually should trick you. The common LCM is actually just 6p squared. So you just need to multiply. It shouldn't be difficult. Then this one over here, what we are going to do to make the two factors denominators the same. Anyone? Hello? Quick, last question for the day already. Nobody answer me. Then I talk to myself. Never mind. Okay, so I want to make this the same. This is x minus 3. The other one is 3 minus x. So what can we do to change this over here to make it become x minus 3 as well? We can multiply by a negative sign. So if I multiply by a negative sign, this one will become a plus. And then 5 over x. 3. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And this is equals to 1. So this is actually an equation. So if I add these two together, the denominator is already the same. So 8 over x minus 3 equals to 1. Just need to cross multiply. And it will be a simple answer. 8 plus 3, 11. So therefore, answer x equals to 11. Is it okay? Can? I'll keep the rest of my algebra questions, the next few pages for our next session. Okay, there are some questions at the back that need a little bit more explanation. But time now is 10 a.m., so I shall not extend your time further. Thank you very much for attending the remedial. I'll see you for next time for the next session. Anyone who have questions can stay back and ask me. Okay, bye.